What's good, everybody? It's your boy Adrian Nyce. Welcome to another episode of Mouthin. Right now, we're at the world famous Audio Box Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina, home of the Baby, Stun for Vegas, and other familiar faces like that. Right now, I'm here with.
My name is Dirty White, and I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina. Singer, producer extraordinaire. The biggest star you've never heard of, basically.
The biggest star you never heard of. So you from Wilmington? Wait, are you from there, born and raised, or okay?
Full disclosure. So I was born in the city, but I'm a country boy, heart and soul, man. And believe it or not, I was raised like milking cows, gathering eggs, hoeing the beans, man.
You country.
Yeah, for real talk. So it's just like obviously that transition, you know what I'm saying, into like obviously the whole music thing kind of came after, but in the sense of Wilmington, I've actually been living actively in the city for probably like going on 7 years. But yeah, coming up, definitely over the bridge, man. Out where men are men and sheeps are scared,
So you're talking about the city in Wilmington?
Yeah.
So what is is that city like Charlotte type city, or are we talking about it's a city but it's still country city?
No, it's actually pretty progressive, honestly, compared to a lot of. I would compare it to Charlotte. It's like Charlotte's little baby sister.
I definitely know Wilmington's like the filming capital of the Carolinas.
Yeah, no, Wilmington's popping. There's a lot of stuff there. It's one of those cities that's like it doesn't offer, I feel like, as many opportunities for underground artists as Charlotte does because of the way the networking is set up. Like if you're already, like for instance, what's the big major studio? I'm drawing a blank right now. Yeah, but there's a huge Screen Gems. That's what I was trying to think. I was drawing a blank. Yeah, so Screen Gems is in Wilmington. So a lot of major pictures. I mean, parts of Iron Man were filmed in Wilmington, stuff like this. You know what I mean? So it's just like Robert Downey Jr. has a house out there and stuff like this. So there's definitely activity in Wilmington. There's a lot of progressive vibes, a lot of hippies, a lot of a lot of hipsters with the flannels and the homegrown beer, and all that good stuff. But it's a pretty solid city. It's on the coast too, so a lot of beautiful women, man. You go out there on the beach, and during the summertime, it's just a whole vibe out there. Yeah,
woo.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Myrtle Beach is right there, beside it.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah. Myrtle Beach is probably like from Wilmington. It's probably like an hour 15.
So what is it? Just Wilmington Beach, or does it have its own?
Yeah, so Wilmington has got like a couple main beaches that call Wilmington home. Wrightsville Beach is sort of like the more upscale, you know what I mean? Sort of like bougie beach, for lack of a better word. And then you got Carolina Beach, which is like where all the rednecks go. And in the north end, they get out there with the four-wheeling trucks and they do donuts and all this type of crazy stuff. Yeah, so you kind of got that vibe. And then you go up, past Carolina a little bit, and you've got, like Curie Beach, Topsail Beach. They gradually evolve as you head up towards, the Outer Banks area and stuff like that.
So you kind of mentioned it. I want to go into what it was like growing up. What was life like for Dirty White when he was young?
So I was a church kid. So in addition to being as country as pretty much they come, living on a farm, like I said, doing all the associated stuff with that, I was super. We were all super Christian. We were raised super conservative Christian, Seventh-day Adventist, as a matter of fact. Fun fact, by the way, I don't know if anybody, I may be dating myself here a little bit, but I don't know if anybody out there knows about David Koresh. You know who David Koresh is? You remember hearing that name? Or like,
I remember hearing the name, definitely.
Waco, Texas. You remember? It was a dude that started his own cult, and he got a bunch of people.
Yes, drink the punch.
All died. So David Koresh is an ex-Seventh-day Adventist. If that tells you how not extreme necessarily is not the right word necessarily, but like Seventh-day Adventists are like pretty, like they're
deep.
They're cultish to a lot of people. Like a lot of people consider them cultish. And my parents, believe it or not, due to their own personal beliefs, even took it like a step farther than that. So it's like no meat, no eggs, no milk, no TV. Like I couldn't even wear a shirt that says Nike on it because that's advertising for
living to the code.
Oh man, it was intense. But what's beautiful about that, though, ironically, is that it forces you to kind of prioritize, and it forces you to pick your devotion. So it was like very apparent early on to me that music was that thing. Because like my mom, she was part of church choirs, sang in church, special music, the whole thing while I was in vitro, like while I was in her. So I naturally came out with like melodies and harmonies in my head. You know what I mean?
So you think that kind of taught you discipline in a sense?
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean, none of the background, I feel like people always like gain a sense of negativity when we're talking about, you know what I mean? Like things like that. But it's really not, in the sense that it forces you, like I said, to kind of I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have friends. I didn't have anything. You know what I mean?
Damn, bro.
Normal. You know what I mean? That people consider normal today. You know what I mean? But the ironic part is stuff like that is right. Well, I mean, it's distractions. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it. So like, yeah, I hammered hard on the music, like play my guitar, play my piano 2, 3 hours, 4 hours a day. I mean, there was nothing that I did. There was nothing else that I was allowed to do for fun. You know what I mean? So like, I just drove home the music.
So let's kind of break it down. So at what age did you kind of get your instruments and everything?
So my mother tells me that at age 6 was the first time that I started taking interest in piano. And so I started picking out piano from age 6 onwards and started listening to a lot of like once again, I was only allowed to listen to stuff like gospel. I mean, I think the one secular artist that I was actually allowed to listen to was like John Denver. You know what I mean? Like that real laid back 70s, you know, Western.
But to be honest, like a lot of our most influential hip hop, pop music stars, they all started in the church.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
You're not far out of the loop. You know, it's just a different type of discipline and everything.
It's literally insane too. It's such and I wanted to mention it's such an honor to be on the podcast. I was literally driving up here from my mom's house, like an hour drive, and I'm listening to like episode after episode of you guys' you know, of Mouthin now. And the most recent one that I watched, like I started and came up, and the last one that I was actually finishing up as I was pulling in here was DJ Kid.
DJ Kid, yeah, shout out to DJ Kid.
Yeah, shout out DJ Kid, man, and all the $1 billion people. But he literally mentioned how he started out playing drums in his mama's church. You know what I mean? Like it's literally, it goes deep. It's really deeper than rap out here.
It's something to say about that, bro. Because like literally, we did 300 interviews this year, and I can safely say a great portion of those like started in the church. Okay, so we got your instruments, we got the piano. Where'd you get your guitar?
So I actually got a ukulele first.
Ukulele. Woo.
Shout out to my grandma. Rest in peace, Danny, man. I miss my grandma, man, a lot. Shout out to everybody that's lost their grandparents, man. It's rough, man. If you tight with your grandmama, but she gave me a ukulele and taught me my first little song. And for the next like 6 months, I drove my parents absolutely batshit insane in the house, playing that same song over and over and over again. So then gradually, I think I was probably 11 or 12 when I finally actually purchased or was allowed to purchase my first guitar, Ovation, nice little sunburst, orange to black. It was a nice guitar. You know, started playing, just jamming out. I'm probably primarily acoustic, so like I played acoustic guitar for years, and then when I finally was like sort of graduated to the electric, like I already had a lot of foundational stuff, and I've actually got my like a bright orange Ibanez is actually out in the car.
I should have brought it in. Yeah. We might go to commercial break and let you bring it.
Break and drag it in here, yeah.
So we got you into these instruments, right? Did you have like a lot of friends or anything like that, or what was the school scene like growing up?
So it's all tied in, man. It's all tied in. And the good questions, man. You hitting them right on the head. So basically, I had a handful of friends, but they were church kids. I didn't have any friends to speak of. I didn't go to school. I was homeschooled. I was actually homeschooled up until the point where I was 16, and I left home. I was so fed up with all of it.
Wow.
Just chucked up the deuces, man, at 16 and just dipped, and I haven't lived at home since. So, I mean, shout out to all my people out there that graduated early. So, you know, the term jumped off the porch definitely applies to me because I was at 16. I was like, yeah, you know, fuck this, basically. I'm going to find some shit.
Were your friends homeschooled also, or were they into actual school?
My friends were like going to Christian schools and stuff. The couple friends that I did have, and then you know, basically as far as like my friends in music were concerned, there wasn't a whole lot of like I didn't have any friends that were doing music. Like it was kind of like it was one thing that I feel like helped establish my confidence early on. You know what I mean? Was the fact that I was like pretty much the only person that I knew that was taking music seriously.
And that was my next question. Were your friends into music at all, singing, any type of?
To an extent, I mean, there were a couple of people that I was more casually associated with. Like, for instance, there was you know, this one chick in church, and she was like, "Oh, let's do a collaboration," and we sang a special music, you know, in church together and like harmonized with each other. So some casual, like, kind of one-offs as far as that's concerned. But it was always like blatantly obvious, like within my circle, who plays the piano, who sings, who plays the piano. They're just point straight at me, like that's him.
So when did you start getting, you said you were listening, majority of the music that you were allowed to listen to was like gospel, Christian type music. When did you start getting into the other sounds?
So that's honestly my favorite story to tell. It happened at church, believe it or not. We were having potluck for those church kids, man. You know what potluck is after church, you know, all the church ladies, they got the mashed potatoes and the biscuits and go, you know, everything going, the mac and cheese, all this. So I'm out here on the picnic table in the back of the churchyard next to the swing set. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably like 12. And my friend John, shout out JD, man, he's in the Navy and down in Florida. He comes up to me, he goes, bruh, he's like, you got to hear this. And he was already deep in hip hop. Like he was, you know what I'm saying, had already given me some context. It's just the fact that I didn't have electronics, so there was no way for me to have a running playlist of anything. You know what I mean? So like, he literally like looks both ways to make sure my parents weren't looking, and he comes and he puts his earplugs in my ears. He goes, bro, listen to this. And he pushes play on his iPod. You know what the song was?
What?
Georgia Bush by Lil Wayne.
He put you on that Lil Wayne.
Bro, I'm from a town where everybody drowned, everybody died, but baby, I'm still praying with you. I was like, yes, this is my shit. And it was such a fundamental like moment for me. Like my eyes just opened wide, and after that, I was full blown Wayne head. I've got Wayne tattoos and quotes on me and all kinds of stuff, like full blown Wayne head till the day I die. But that was pretty much it. After then, I just eagerly, I was pretty much like stealing his iPod from him every time that I saw him. You know what I mean? Like, John, what up? Give me your iPod.
What else you got for me? Yeah.
Put something on here. He's like, man, I got that new Busta Rhymes. Drop it, touch it, bring it. I was like, oh no. Yeah, but it was definitely like an instant addiction to hip hop because, ironically, part of being a church kid and part of being like the homeschool vibe, I feel like it encourages you to kind of, like I said, pursue different lanes. And so, in addition to like doing music, I was also writing poetry. Pretty consistently. Like I was, posting it up on, the church bulletin board, showing it to the people in the church, you know what I mean? Like making handwritten copies of my poems to hand out to people, copying. It was a whole thing for me. Like I was literally into the copy and distribute game even before I knew what music business was about. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally like writing a poem by hand on a piece of paper and using the church's copy machine, make 15 copies and hand it out to 15 people in the church that I knew were fans of my poetry. Like it's that deep.
That's dope.
I mean? And so like after that kind of had gone along for a while, then hip hop like came into my mind. Like when John showed me that first song, the realization that poetry and music could be one and the same thing. You know what I mean? Instead of writing a song, which is very linear, Amazing Grace, each something corresponds to a syllable, it corresponds to the melody. Writing a song
like song structure and everything.
Yeah, it's a totally different vibe from hip hop when you start to, I'm blowing up like a Challenger, back in the back of the Acura. My homies is rappers and traffickers, alias addresses, GPS accurate. You know what I'm saying? When you actually start like writing for the intent of spitting, bro, it opens up a totally different lane for me. So as soon as that happened, it snapped in my mind. And like I said, I was probably 12. From the minute that I heard hip hop, I went home and started writing raps. I'm like, I realize I can actually write and spit this stuff now. So this is not just written page, like loose leaf poetry for people to read. I can spit this. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just the whole world. Just like,
So I just have a quick question. So, going back to you being homeschooled, because I don't think I've met anybody yet that's been homeschooled. And, I've seen a couple of movies like Bubble Boy or like, what's the other movie? Robot or Mom or something where this girl, she's this robot,
talking about
it's
Will Smith movie, iRobot?
No. It's a new movie where this robot, she basically is to start the world over again, basically. So she, gets a little egg thing, hatches it, and then raises this daughter, but basically in a ship. So she has no, she's homeschooled basically. She's taught about the world in this environment. It's called Ma or Mother, I think is what it's called. Yeah, and so it's a girl being raised by a robot. But so they're homeschooled. So but going to that Bubble Boy, since you're familiar with Bubble Boy, when he was being raised, his mom was lying to him about certain aspects. I want to know if your mom or your parents kind of, I don't want to say lied, but just, avoided some subjects or, chose what they wanted to teach you.
I wouldn't say that because, once again, when all the stories that I tell, I don't want to throw shade at my parents. You know what I mean? Like we all do the best we can with what we have. I feel like at the end of the day, and they were doing what they felt like was right. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like also, I think it's kind of gratuitous to say, I'm going to teach my child every single thing there is to know about the Bible, everything there is to know about salvation, eternal life, you know what I mean? Faith by, walking by faith, the whole thing, but then not tell them how to balance their checkbook. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I was saying, like outside of religion, God, like world. Not real world, but you know what I'm saying.
There was definitely, I feel like personally, and it's something that me and my parents have already discussed and come to terms with, you know what I mean? And I understand why they did what they did, but there was definitely a very, very heavy area of omittance. So things that they weren't telling me about because they thought that it was going to corrupt me or that they thought it was going to whatever. To me, it makes way more sense to like be aware that there's a train track, so that you don't get hit by the train. You know what I mean? Than to go, we're just not going to talk about it.
And I only bring that up because do you think that made you go head first into like rap music and everything else because they did omit certain things? Or
I think that
people have this type of thing like I want what I can't have type stuff.
Well, honestly, as far as it applies to hip hop, I think that the beautiful thing about hip hop is it's so universal and it's so far reaching that it doesn't really necessarily matter what background you come from. Hip hop is something that unites us.
Facts.
I felt like that's something that immediately like drug me into it, was how beautiful it was and how uniting and how expressive and how freeing it was. However, when it does come to that, just purely in lifestyle, the fact that I was squeezed so tight. Like I said, when I finally did leave at 16, I was trying everything. I want to do everything at least once. You know what I mean? Let's try it. I don't care. Fuck it. You trying to? You know what I'm saying? My friends come up and hey, you want to try? I won't even let them finish. Yeah, let's do it. Everything, and that's not necessarily even a good thing sometimes. You know what I mean? Because there's definitely things that you should go, hey, don't try that because this is why. This, that, and the third is probably going to happen. It's probably just not the best idea. So there's a whole ton of things, and I feel like at the end of the day, it was up to me to kind of reel myself back. And that's the period of life that I am right now. Like, I'm 27, and I feel like I've just recently come to some real solid realizations about self-discipline and stuff that should have happened back then that I just threw caution to the wind because I didn't care. I didn't get to do any of this shit.
But now you know.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, it all comes full circle. I'm not tripping on it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But you're absolutely right. There were definitely things like I didn't have the sex talk. I didn't have the drug talk. I didn't have any of the talks that kids typically have. Like, hey, you know what I mean? If you're going to jump off a cliff, make sure and wear a parachute. You know what I mean? That type of deal. You know what I mean?
You didn't even have electronics, so it's not like you could have got the information from somewhere else.
Yeah. No peer review, no peer-related sources. Like I said, my few friends, my little handful of friends that I did have were church kids. They were in the same boat as me. They were like, what? Jesus? What are we talking about? Jesus? No, we're talking about why you shouldn't do cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it all comes back.
Before we get off the subject or anything, so now when you have your children, are you going to approach it differently or... And yeah, I got one more.
Man, don't jinx me like this, man. Don't.
I mean, I'm just asking. I'm sure you thought about, damn, I wonder what it's like to have a kid because you're in a unique situation. Yeah. I hope you understand that because a lot of people haven't been brought up the same way you've been brought up. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason why I'm asking these questions because I haven't. I'm curious.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, no, I've totally been curious about that. I mean, I haven't, I don't have any kids up to this point, and I honestly don't think, once again, just as a personal, acceptance of myself, I don't think I'm ready for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm blessed to, not be there because I feel like I know some people who have kids and it forced them to grow up overnight. You know what I mean? Definitely. And I'm not saying that's a
switch up.
Yeah, dude, it's not necessarily a bad thing even, but I think that at the point where I'm at with the music and what I'm able to pursue and what I'm able to do, it's been advantageous for me not to have kids. But to answer your question, if I did have kids, I absolutely want there to be just such a strong foundation of trust. I don't want them to ever be scared to come ask me a question. You know what I mean? I don't want them to ever be fearful or not have an answer or go, Dad, I think I got a girl pregnant. What do I do? You know what I mean? And not be worried that I'm going to come down on them like a vice and destroy them. No, I'm going to support you. I'm going to help you. You know what I'm saying? I want you to have knowledge. I want you to know what you're walking into before you walk in there because 98% of the secular, the worldly experience that I have had, the lessons that I have learned have been from being knocked on the head. You know what I mean? And having to learn from it. Nobody ever said, hey, he's going to knock you on the head. Don't go hang out with him. I didn't get that. So I went right over there. Boop. They hit you on the head. And then you realize, you know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this again. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I feel like there should definitely be a level of trust, man. Your kids should trust you. They should want to, all this talk about my kids. Well, I'm not your friend. I'm your dad. Needs to be a healthy bit. You know what I'm saying?
And then last thing pertaining to all of this, and then we can move on, bro. So I hear a lot like kids that are have parents that are like, pastors are just heavy in the religious world, or that type of, when they get out of it, they kind of go the other way. Is that same instance for you? As far as like you denounce, I don't want to say religion, but just all that type of stuff.
To an extent, I still very much strongly believe in the exchanges of energy. I guess you could probably say I'm an agnostic, I guess. So it's not like I don't like in the point where I'm like, fuck God, there is no God. I'm definitely not there at all. Like, I definitely believe that there's some sort of force, some sort of controlling, some sort of an energy exchange. You know what I mean? That has to happen. Something that's, you know what I mean. But I also believe that. There's that life and what happens in life is a lot more directly related to cause and effect and our personal actions than what I was led to believe. I feel like in Christianity in general and religion in general, that I'm sick of seeing humans killing each other over a God that may or may not exist. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane. Like, why are we not treating each other? If I ever see somebody, my God's better than your God. What?
Yeah,
the point of God is to not have that conversation, to not have that anger. You know what I mean? So, like, when it comes down to it, I feel like it's a lot more to do with cause and effect. I feel like in Christianity specifically, a lot of people have a tendency to throw the Jesus blanket on things, which means, somebody that's close to me was strangled to death in a back alley, you know what I mean, for lack of a better metaphor. You get where I'm going. Oh, it's God has a plan. God has a plan for everything. Well, I want to strangle you now. You know what I mean? Like, don't fucking say that to me. So I just feel like it's really important for us to always stay grounded in loving each other and being thoughtful and being empathetic towards each other versus, you know what I mean? Well, I'm not going to help him because he's a Catholic and I'm a Protestant. What? Like, I don't, yeah. So to an extent, yeah, I kind of backed off of it to the point where I really want to have a healthy realization about what's going on in reality and not let the blinders that Christianity has a tendency to put on us, you know.
Okay, moving on. So, okay.
Solid questions, though, man.
Nah, yeah. Trust me, bro. It's you. First, I gotta get these out because I don't know when I'll have another, one of you, man, in here. That is true. That is true, man. So you said 16 years old, you left your house. Around 16, you left your house, went out on your own. Where did you go? What was that experience like? Give me a couple of your first moves after you left your house.
So my mama cried on the way to the bus stop. And I got on the bus and watched her cry on the bench. And I just stared straight ahead. I could see her out of my periphery, her and my grandma sitting there just crying. Because they didn't, well, honestly, and it's the sad part to admit is that it wasn't that. It was I just didn't give a fuck. I really didn't give two shits. And I've obviously, since then, I've apologized to my mom. We have a good relationship. Like, I literally just came from her house this morning. I spent the night at her house last night. She woke me up with biscuits and gravy this morning, man. I ain't tripping on my dukes. But yeah, that was really what it was. They drove me to the bus stop. I got on the bus. I went to live with my friend that stayed in Maryland. Her name was Amanda. She was one of my pen pals because that was actually one thing that I didn't touch on about my upbringing was like I said, I didn't have laptops, cell phones. I didn't have friends like that. So I literally had pen pals. Like I
was sending mail.
I was 14, 15 years old. I already had a job working 50 hours a week, and I'm writing letters to people. And like my parents would read my mail when it came in before they would hand it to me, and they'd cross out stuff that they felt was inappropriate, like if a girl was trying to flirt with me or something. And then if I'd mail the girl back, I'd write her a letter, and they would read my outgoing mail before I was allowed to seal it and send it to make sure that it was appropriate. Like it was it wasn't very far off, to be honest with you. I mean, but the point being is, they were just doing their best to, protect me. But that was actually who I went and stayed with, was one of these chicks. Her name was Amanda, and it was a girl that I had been writing letters to pretty heavy for probably like 4 or 5 years. We had been writing, and she always just like, man, I wish you could come hang out with me. And I just, like you said, it was locked up. There was nowhere I could go anywhere until I was 16, which is legally emancipatable. Like I can dip. So I went straight to live with her, and turns out the irony of that situation was I lived with her family, and she literally, like after 3 days, realized that me being in the house upset the power balance, and she left, and she moved out and lived with her boyfriend. I didn't even know she had him.
What about you?
So I'm in the house. So I'm in the house with her family, her parents and her little brother that I didn't know for jack shit. You know what I'm saying? They were real nice people. I'm not talking shit about them. They were good. They let me.
I was about to say, so they weren't like, okay, she's gone, you gotta go.
I ended up being there for about 4 months, and they kind of came around to that decision. It was a nicely done decision. Like it was pretty much, yeah, Amanda, you were Amanda's guest, you know what I mean, basically, and now you've been here in our house, and we don't know what's going on, you know what I'm saying, so you kind of, can you kind of, like, figure out what's going on? I was there with them for 4 months, and these people were super nice, and I was working with the dad, turns out the dad of the family, Alex, shout out to Alex, he got...
Annabelle.
Right, he got me a job at this electrician's company, so I was doing electrician work in D.C. and out of Maryland, Hagerstown, Westminster, all that whole area. And I was there for a little while, came back, actually ended up living in my old neighborhood, about 15 minutes away from my mom. Ended up renting my own place from one of the local guys that used to, they had some rental properties there. And Kind of graduated from there, and like I said, just ended up transplanting to Wilmington. Ended up spending some time in South Carolina. Like between the ages of 16 and 18, I pretty much was not in any one place for more than about a couple months. Like I was kind of like on my little journey, you know what I mean?
Was Maryland the only state outside of the Carolinas that you lived in?
Yeah. I went to Maryland, and then I was in North Carolina, South Carolina.
So when you were in Maryland, I guess with the girl or whatever, or with her family, was it just you there living and work basically, or did you have time to, I guess, experience other things in Maryland?
To an
the culture.
Yeah, to an extent, a little bit. Their parents kind of like, took me out with them around, and we went and like saw some dope restaurants, saw some sights and stuff.
Yeah, you're still 16-ish.
You also got to consider that too. You know what I mean? Like they're housing a runaway 16-year-old at this point. You know what I mean? So like they were taking me with them to all the stuff that they would do, but the majority of the time was spending work, and that is one thing that honestly transferred beautifully into music, was that I'm a workaholic, bro. If I'm not working, I can't sit still. You know what I mean? That's just who I am. So. Like I was, working 50, 60 hours a week with the electricians company, and then, any time that we did go out to dinner or went to see a movie or go do something crazy, I just thought it was fun. It was like, hey, I'm in Maryland, you know what I mean? I've never been to a movie before. What is a movie? You know what I mean? They're like, you want to go to the theater? I'm like, the what? And they're like, the theater, man. Let's go see a movie. So we went and, you know what I'm saying? We went and watched a movie. I'm in the theater just like.
Damn. So you had a lot of your first experiences with, I guess, technology.
Yeah. I went tech crazy when I first moved in there too, because with the electrician's job, they were paying me better than any job that I've ever had in North Carolina, or had up to that point, in North Carolina. And so I went and got myself an iPhone. I went and got myself a PlayStation Portable. You remember PSP?
Yeah.
I had the slimline PSP. Madden 07 on that bitch, boy. I was a son of a bitch. I was happy as hell, but yeah, it was pretty much it. Came back, after those months that I spent there, had a good time.
Did you ever talk to the girl again? Or once she dipped?
No, once she left and went and lived with her boyfriend, we hung out once, and then the second time that I saw her outside of having lived with her, we went to the Ruby Tuesdays where she worked at. This girl would not say a word to me. She literally took my order and watched. She hugged her dad. She hugged her mom. She hugged her brother. She looked at me and said, all right, can I take your order?
Dang. Yeah, she put you in that situation.
Asked me to come up here. Come live with me. Come live with me. She even paid for my bus tickets. And then asked me for the money back once I got there. Yeah, I'm going to need that money back. I was like, well, I'm happy to pay the money back. I'm not tripping on that. But what? Really? Why even ask me to come to start with?
How old was she?
She was 18.
So I don't think she comprehended what was actually happening, because you don't really know what is up outside of what you've been taught. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's one thing to tell somebody no, you won't go to the dance with them. You know what I mean? But it's another thing to lure somebody from 4 states away and then say, all right, toodles. You know what I mean? So I was kind of sweating it, man, for a little while. It was one of my first legit experiences with just how humans are.
And jaded.
Yeah, pretty much. You know what I mean? And it was down to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna say I was in love with her, but when I went to Maryland, I was excited. It was one of those movie moments. I got off I rode a fucking Greyhound for 18 hours to come up here. You know what I mean? You know how Greyhounds are. They stop at every five bus stops. You know what I mean? So I'm like, the longest bus ride of my life, bro. Get off the bus stop. She's there waiting. Oh, we run. Oh, it's the the whole is a movie scene, man. It was a fucking movie scene, and then it's like, all right, bye. I'm like, wait, what? This is not supposed to happen. Like, what's going on?
I think her family kind of felt how fucked up that was too. That's probably why they let you.
Yeah, to an extent, you know what I mean. But I was just happy as hell not to be on the farm anymore. So really, it all just kind of got wrapped up into that whole. I was sad about it. I was kind of fucked up about it. But at the end of the day, I just whatever. Stay in touch with them. Keep moving. I haven't heard from them in some years, to be honest with you. The dad, ironically, was the coolest person of the whole family. The daughter, like I said, Amanda, and that shows. That's honestly kind of a testament to it even applies to modern technology, because I know everybody's got that one person where you guys can text hours a day, but if you ever meet them in person, it's the most awkward shit, and y'all don't have no conversations. You don't vibe at all. It's one of those things. You can write letters to somebody for 5 years and you think you know who they are. You know what I mean? Then you pull up on them and it's in person. They're just like crickets.
Different energy, bro.
And it's like, whoa. So yeah, I'm saying shout out to them though. I ain't mad about it. It's a learning experience.
I definitely think though, that experience. I'm, just for your sake, I'm glad it was that experience that happened versus like another type of experience. Because that is a great light experience to show you, like, okay, I can't trust everybody or everything isn't as it seems.
Oh yes,
You being as naive, you know what I'm saying?
a million on 1,000, bro. I'd say you hit the nail right on the head. There's 1,000 worse versions of that could have happened. You know what I mean? So like, it's at the end of the day, I was just like, hey, thank you guys for having me up here. Appreciate the job. They were like, yeah, you've been nice, but you gotta get the fuck out.
You think about that experience a lot?
Oh yeah. But I literally on the couch in the crib right now is the blanket that she brought me. Like my arriving gift was this big, huge plush velour blanket that was like the most comfortable blanket of all time. It's still on my couch right now. So it's something that I've accepted. She's cool. I ain't mad at her. She's got a kid. She's married. I low key crept on her Facebook like 3 years ago. Just what is Amanda doing? You know what I'm saying? Like damn, I typed in her shit. And she's married, got a kid. Hey, do your thing, baby girl. I ain't tripping on you. It's whatever.
Okay, so give me some of your top musical influences. I mean, I know you said you heard Lil Wayne, but like who, I guess, has inspired the rise of your lyricism, the way you sing, et cetera, et cetera?
So singing is something that's actually been a fairly recent development as far as like showing it to the world. Like I said, I grew up singing. I've been a singing fool since I was young. I mean, I was, like I said, 8 years old, 10 years old, 14 years old, all the way up till I left. You know what I mean? Literally like singing probably at least once a month in front of a church of 200 people. You know what I mean? So it's like almost like being on a mini tour in a sense, you know what I mean? Where I was very accustomed when I started rapping, when I started performing on stage, it was not a foreign concept. It was not a foreign experience whatsoever to look at a bunch of people that are just looking right at your face, you know what I mean? Ready for you to do something, you know what I mean? Hanging on every word. I love that experience. That's what I feed off that. It's a beautiful thing. Like I love to bless people with that experience. But like as far as like when I started rapping at 12 or 13, the idea that those things could be connected wasn't even in my head. Once again, that divider, that membrane that separates those two things had not been shattered yet. So like when I started rapping, like I rapped from the ages of 13, or I actively wrote and then rapped in front of people, I should say, from the ages of 13 to 17 or 18 probably, which is when I first got in the booth. And then I started my journey as to learning how to make good sounding music. And of course, I went through my rough patch where I was writing my ass off and promoting my ass off, and nobody was really wanting to fuck with me because my music wasn't bad. It wasn't badly written music. It was just very badly mixed or produced music. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, so everybody goes through the rough patch. You know what I mean? Like where you got to get your shit together. So then, like as I started really like actively pursuing, once I moved to Wilmington, like I said, probably like I was in Wilmington for a couple years before I started, hitting open mics and like, actively networking with rappers and trying to get in on shows and stuff. And people actually started to take me seriously in my city there for a little while. Like I was actually had like a real solid wave going because people were like, dude, this dude can actually rap. Like majority of the rappers in my city were just kind of ad-libbing over their own tracks and, at shows and stuff, just kind of bullshitting, you know what I mean? And no offense to anybody, you know what I'm saying, that like feels some type of way about that. But I was getting on stage on instrumentals and like smashing bars. But then the very first time that I ever opened my mouth to sing for somebody, like the place just blew up. Like everybody's like, what is wrong with you? Why are you rapping and not singing? What is your problem, bro? And I'm like sitting here because to me, singing was just associated with church. You know what I mean? Like, why would I sing? I don't want to sing Amazing Grace for y'all. I'm out here to spit y'all some bars. I'm about to go Slim Shady on your asses right now. Once I got the encouragement, like it was a solid, just constantly just dumping encouragement on me. Please sing. Please do a singing album. Please sing some songs. Please do a song for us. Can you please sing for us? It began to occur to me that maybe I can, maybe my singing is something that has more commercial appeal than my rap, perhaps. You know what I mean? And I'll still never leave, you know what I'm saying? I can't not write bars because to me, rap is just so freeing. It's so much fun. Like spitting, like bar play is just so much fun to me. But when it comes to singing, then it was something that, I started to reel that back in. I'm like, well, maybe I should. So back in
something here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's shout out to all the people that encouraged me. Shout out to Breeze Davis. Shout out to Miss Coley of Stay Root Music Group. Like I could name 50 people that were just begging me, please, will you please do some singing music? You know what I mean? You sing very nicely. Why do you keep rapping so much? And so now I feel like it's a healthy mix of the two. So. What goes around comes around, I guess. So, and you can honestly, if you play, like any of my music, you go to my discography and play anything that I've got, you'll definitely hear some of the gospel-y, soulful type of influences.
I was listening to it earlier before you came. I was like, okay.
Yeah, there's some stuff there. There's definitely some stuff there. So
Describe the music scene in Wilmington and I guess surrounding areas. Like, is there one, or do you definitely have to travel outside of Wilmington to kind of get, like, do you have to come to Charlotte or what's closer to, or like Durham or something, or like,
as far as Wilmington goes, I feel like Wilmington is very cliquish. Wilmington's very cliquish. Where I found that cities like Durham, Raleigh, even Charlotte to an extent are much more accepting of different vibes and different sounds. You know what I mean? So like in Wilmington, if you're like, and obviously this is from my perspective, you could probably reel in 10 different rappers from Wilmington that don't get 10 different shades of the story that I'm about to say.
we want to hear your perspective.
Exactly. So for me, it's kind of cliquish in the sense that you got, like, if I go to a show, I know a producer or a promoter, for instance, that's throwing a show, and I look at the lineup and there's a bunch of trap rappers. If I go in there and I sing, and I sing my song "Reckless and Romance," which is what I'm, promoting actively right now. So it's, it's just oh, you better run away while you still have a chance. It's all soft and fluffy. If you do something like that, all the trap rappers are gonna go, all right, when's my slot ready? They're not on the front row going, oh, because the people that showed up to see them, the people that showed up to see me know what I'm about. You know what I mean? But the people that showed up to them, they want that gang. Let me hear some 808s, you know what I'm saying? And I fucking love trap music, you know what I mean? I'm not hating on trap music by any means, but if you go to a trap show, I'm going to want to perform my trap shit if I want to get love from these motherfuckers that's in here, you know what I'm saying? Then you got the flip side of that, which is where I'll go, 3 blocks down and there's a piano club. I go in a piano club, I start noodling around. Then you got all the like mid-50s, you know what I'm saying, wine-sipping ladies, and they're all gathered around, and now they're all fans, you know what I mean? But the point being is, like, Wilmington, like, to get a solid audience in Wilmington, you got to find one of those and attack it specifically. There is no, you know what I mean? To Raleigh, bro, it's a beautiful. So shout out, for instance, like I got to shout out my girl, Miriam.
In the building.
So have you ever heard of Miriam or Carolina Waves? I got to put you on Carolina Waves. Okay, so you've heard Carolina Waves. So she's got her thing going. Like I got to shout out Miriam because I've been fucking with her for probably 3 years now. I've done a
definitely tapped in.
Yo, yeah, no, Mears is the person to fuck with for sure. And she's put me on show after show after show, and I've got some arrangements with her where I can get on her stuff, and I can go to Raleigh and I can do a set that consists of all of that, and the crowd will like every bit of it. Like I can go out there and just, what I'm saying, I'll spit some like murderous bars. They love it. Now I go back to woo, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, and they like that too. You know what I mean? So it's just so beautiful to be able to kind of branch out. So Wilmington, I feel like is kind of restricted in that way. Like it's kind of cliquey. Like if you go to do a show in Wilmington, you need to know who you're marketing it to. You know what I mean? And get the right people out to come to your show. Because if you get this crowd to come out and you try to switch it up on them, it might not work out.
So are you open to moving outside of the Carolinas? Like a super huge city like Hollywood or New York or Atlanta.
1,000%. As a matter of fact, I'm actually kind of in the works to do something similar. Believe it or not, I'm actually trying to move here within a year. I signed a year's lease in August, so I've got between now and August to kind of figure out what's going on. But I would actually really like to move out here. This is going to be kind of like my leapfrog. If I do go somewhere else, it'll be from here to wherever because
this is great.
Yeah, Charlotte is the spot as far as like rubbing elbows and like getting in with the spot. I mean, think about it right now. Like I'm in Audio Box Studios right now. This is the first time I've ever been in this building. It's a blessing. I mean, I'm going later on not only to link up with my man Steven from This, That, and the Third podcast. I'm also gonna pop in on my man Lil Ed. Shout out Lil Ed. This dude got gold records, bro. Like Lil Ed lives right here in Charlotte, and he be mixing DDG, Mac Miller. I mean, the dude has got credits, bro. So it's just like this is a great like landing place for me to be able to do some sort of.
This is definitely the studio you want to be in, bro. I just, once you leave and get done, do your research. Who's been here and who comes in, bro. You never know who will come in, and the producers here are definitely got that. Yeah. Okay, guys, we're back. We're back. He got the guitar. So I guess you're gonna sing the single, or you're gonna sing something else, or how do you want to do this?
So basically, I was just gonna give you a little taste of what the single is. This is basically an acoustic cover, obviously, and hopefully we can throw the link to the actual single, which has been out actually for a couple months. It's leading up to a Valentine's Day Love EP release. Okay, so y'all stay tripping on these love songs all the time. So I'm trying to give them what they want. You know what I'm saying? What the rest say? What they want? What they? No, let me stop.
So, but before you go into it, let's give the name of the song and let's do a drop. So you'll be like, this is Dirty White and this is such and such.
Yeah. So my name is Dirty White. The single I'm promoting is called Reckless in Romance. It's available on all platforms, literally just Reckless in Romance, Dirty White. Dirty White is all one word, by the way, for everybody who wants to check that out. If you put a space in between Dirty and White, you're just going to get a whole bunch of stuff for Dirty and a whole bunch of stuff for White, and neither of that's going to be me. So this is an acoustic cover of the single that I'm trying to promote. So, yeah. The razor's edge, the bitter truth, is the only way to spare this pain from you. So if I could give you some advice to help you get through the lonely nights, you better disappear, get away from here. Oh, you better run away while you still have the chance. They should have warned you in advance. Now that your heart is in my hands, I understand. Oh, you better run away while you still have the chance. They should have warned you in advance. Baby, you're reckless in romance. Yes, I am. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah. That's a little piece of it, you know what I'm saying?
Woo! Y'all go tap into that. What's your Instagram? I'm sure the link is in there too, so they can tap in.
Yeah, man. Believe it or not, I was able to actually get all the exact same tags for all my social medias and my YouTube and everything. So Dirty F White. Once again, you can hear the Wayne influence because for a while, he was yelling Wheezy F Baby for everything. So it's Dirty F White on all platforms: Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, you name it. Everything.
Spelled how it sounds.
Dirty F White. Yep.
Dirty F White.
Dirty F White.
Ah! Got no house, y'all.
Ain't got no car.
Ain't got no car, y'all.
All I've got, Lord, yeah, is my guitar, and you can have that, Mr. Banker. Please won't you bury my papa for me?
Okay. Look, y'all make sure y'all tap in with his music. He's giving y'all the first-hand taste, a little something, little teaser for y'all, so y'all can go check out the rest. So you're independent right now, correct?
Super independent.
No manager, no management, anything like that.
So
advisors.
Yeah, well, I've got I've got some people that definitely care for me and look out for me. Nothing's on paper per se. I actually had once again the lady that I shouted out earlier, Miss Colio from Stay Rooted Music Group.
In the building.
I definitely want to throw her a huge thanks for a couple years there. Like me and her were up and down the road together, hardcore, and we still stay in contact a lot. Life happens sometimes, so we're not able to interact as much as we used to. But definitely want to shout out her and Stay Rooted Music Group. My boy Breeze Davis once again.
In the building.
We definitely go hard for the cause, and I got mad love for all of them. I also want to shout out my boy Bobby Dollars with CBT. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bobby, but once again, go fuck with my boy Bobby, because Bobby's making moves. Bobby don't play no games. CBT Global, man, that's the record, that's the studio that we work with. So once again, mad love to him. He shows love. He puts me on his shows. We up and down the road together as well. So shout out him. Shout out my boy Young Will. That's the official DJ for CBT in the building.
Hey, I was waiting to get it in the building.
I got you, dog. I got you. But yeah, man. Right now, CBT's the main squad that I'm fucking with, man. CBT Global can't be touched. You know what I'm saying? One thing for sure, two things for certain. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me nice or don't talk to me twice, baby.
So are you looking to stay independent, or are you eventually want to get a label deal, some type of deal?
I would definitely enjoy some sort of deal, just to give me a little bit more freedom. What terrifies me is obviously, we live in an age where independent is the way to go. A lot of the time you get to collect your own profits. You know what I mean? You get to dictate your own creativity, et cetera, et cetera. I like the idea of having a label in the sense that it's like basically guaranteed assistance. Because to me, you know what I'm saying, I'll be 100% honest with you, I kind of have like a little bit of disdain for the business side of things. And when it comes to music, dog, it's literally about 3% music and like 97% business and networking, you know what I'm saying, all that stuff. So to me, I love the idea of having that label help, to in a sense where I want to have somebody who's going to say, all right, Dirty, we got you lined up for a show to 7:30 down at the arena. All right, bet, I'll be there. I'm going to be in the studio and get that call. You know what I'm saying? That's the call I want to get. I don't want to have to be in an office. Hey, can I get a show on 7:30 at the studio?
Take over your life.
Oh God! Like to me, like what drives me and motivates me is the creation of music. Like literally, you see me with this guitar. Like I will literally sit in the studio for 8-10 hours at a time with this guitar, doing samples, doing solos, just messing around, putting stuff together. You know what I mean? Like that's another thing that I have to once again kind of self-promoting. I don't want to sound like I'm on dig riding myself or anything, but like if you go on my channel and you listen to my music. There are some beats and instrumentals from other producers. I'm not going to be exclusive and be a dick and say that I don't collab with producers. I just collab with a really talented producer last night. His name is Ghost Note.
In the building.
Yeah, in the building, man. Down in South Carolina. Ghost Note, yeah, for sure. And he's actually associated with Audiobox, believe it or not. So we got some stuff. I'm not going to give all the game away right yet. So we got some stuff happening, but
you know what an elevator pitch is?
Basically like a shortstop, something that you can kind of encompass yourself with, essentially, is my understanding of it.
Yep. So basically what's about to happen is I'm going to paint a scenario. And within that scenario, you are going to pitch yourself to labels on why they should sign you or do a deal with you. Okay? And you have 1 minute to do so. All right? Usually I do this in the beginning, but your story is very interesting and I got caught up in it. Okay, so boom. We're in this big corporate building. Big skyscraper looking motherfucker. It's official. So we're at the top of the building. We're getting on this elevator. Who's in this elevator? I'm in this elevator. You're in this elevator. Who else in this elevator? We got Jay-Z, Rock Nation, people, executives in this elevator. P. Diddy, Bad Boy executives, OVO, Master P. Any label you can think of, any exec, the who's who is in here. Okay? So now you have 1 minute to pitch to them on why they should sign you or work with you. Do a deal. It's in my head. It's in my head.
You know how long a minute is?
Yes, I know. Wait, I got it right here. You ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3, go.
So I think the reason that you should participate and involve me in your musical enterprises is simply because of the fact that I am as versatile as they come. Realistically speaking, I can be branded in probably 7 or 8 different ways. Like you can literally call me Dirty White and pitch me to the rap fans. You can call me Landon McClellan and pitch me to the R&B fans. You can call me D White and pitch me to the smooth crooning fans. I'll play you a guitar song. I'll play you a grand piano. Like you can put me in a room with a grand piano and I will have your grandmama crying. You can put me in a room with a DJ and a mic and I will have the rap heads bobbing. I mean, it's every aspect is coverable. You know what I mean? So like I'm literally the capabilities of as far as the money making potential is unlimited. Like I already have my team set up to the sense where I've already got a gold record engineer that mixes everything to top studio quality. I produce all my own instrumentals. I'm self-sufficient. I mean, there is no version of this where we can't find a demographic. Realistically speaking, if you had 5 different teams that could market me to 5 different demographics, I will give you 5 different albums and 5 different genres that will all impress the listeners. There is no limit.
All right, there you go. And go ahead and drop your social media one more time, just in case a label executive or somebody comes across this interview and wants to reach out to you.
Well, you can find me at Dirty FY. And that's all social media platforms, also YouTube.
Is there a email or anything like that?
That's also dirtywhite@gmail.com. Please send all your booking and email requests to that email, please. And thank you very much.
Okay, so now let me ask you this. So, okay.
I'm stupid as hell. You got to give me a break.
No. I see it. Once it's in your hands, it's just like, I can't stop. That's your vice. That's your vice. Music is your vice. You know what I'm saying? But, okay, so look. We oftentimes hear people saying that you have to focus on one thing. You have to kind of choose one thing, one genre, one thing, and focus on that if you want to make it. So now you just kind of explain how you can have multiple talents. Do you think that's a good thing or bad thing, in your opinion?
I think it is. I think it's a very dangerous thing. So good and bad are kind of like static terms, if that makes any sense. It can be good or bad. It's been bad for me in the sense that I'm addicted to the versatility. So that does make it difficult for me to choose a genre and focus 100% of my firepower on one genre and one lane, one demographic. That is a challenge for me, definitely. However, it is beautiful and so empowering in the sense that if I pick a genre, I get to pull influences from all those different spots and combine them into one. So if I had to pick one to focus on, I would say that my preferred genre is probably going to be described as trap soul.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm addicted to trap drums. I love 808s, but I'm also hugely addicted, once again, guitar samples, piano samples, singing, melodies, harmonies. So that's one beautiful thing. Once again, this Reckless and Romance song is pretty much pure pop. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, Reckless and Romance, if you guys go look, in the description, go click on the link and actually listen to Reckless and Romance. By the way, official music video dropping February 1st.
Boom, boom.
I had to plug that real quick.
Go ahead.
That's the whole point of this promo run, this media run that I'm doing right now, is to promote that video. It's dropping on February the 1st on my channel. Just type in Dirty F White.
Is it already filmed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's premiered. If you go on my channel right now, there's a premiere that you can click on, and basically it subscribes yourself to, when it does drop, YouTube will remind you and go, hey, Reckless and Romance just dropped.
Can we talk about the concept at all, or do you want to keep that? Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the concept of it. Like, what is it? What's in it?
For the video.
The video.
So the video is actually 100% pretty much just a performance video. So there's not a whole lot of, you won't see a whole lot of fancy cars. You won't see a whole lot of, you know what I'm saying? There's no half naked hoes or anything like that. Although I do have some of that. If you go down my channel, you'll find some. So, viewers beware. There's some half naked hoes in there. But Reckless and Romance is performance-based. It's a very splashy, very colorful, very catchy visual. It was filmed by Raleigh's one and only director, Illy Rock. Once again, in the building. Shout out.
In the building.
Illy Rock is the most talented, dude, in the world to me. He is phenomenal. Get your bag up. He is not cheap.
Correct.
But he is literally just he'll manhandle the hell out of his red. I mean, it's a hell of a camera. It's a hell of a visual. All my most recent stuff, with the exception of one, I got my boy Jason on the camera on one of them. But he's filmed all my videos for the past probably year or 2 years or so. So Reckless and Romance is actually something that we filmed in an all white room studio in Raleigh. Okay, so Illy came. We brought a projector. Okay, my DJ Young Will. Okay, his wife. Her name is Sid the Kid on Instagram. She does graphic arts and digital design. Okay, once again, hit her up. She's talented as hell. You need any digital artwork done, Sid the Kid. Just look her up. She did a background for me where she did this purplish blue. It's like a universe, galaxy type flow, all these different galaxial visuals flowing together, and then the lyrics are just going by on the screen. Okay, so I brought out my beautiful grill mic. I've got a Shure, performance grill mic that I use in a lot of different stuff. It's like my little baby. And so I bring it up and I put it on a stand, dressed in all black, no shirt, just jean jacket, real rough. My beard was uncut, everything's real grungy looking. And so when you first see me walk up to the mic, you do not expect the voice that comes out of me. And that's kind of the gimmick in the video, is the fact when I walk up, you half to expect me to sing some Willie Nelson or something, you know what I'm saying? But then I walk up and it's like, whoa, oh, yeah, yeah. And you're looking, you're like, oh, shit, what is this, dude? Oh, grungy ass, old Kurt Cobain looking ass motherfucker. But for real, and so then the video commences, and that visual that Sid created is blown up on the wall behind me. So you can even see it sometimes it kind of drifts over me a little bit, and so you see the words pass by. It helps you keep up with the actual lyrics of the song, and it progresses. A lot of real exciting quick cuts. So it's a visual that'll hold your attention. It's not just, a static shot of me just standing in front of it, which is nice because I have a short attention span. You kind of cut around to, keep me interested. But then what's crazy is a happy accident happened while we were filming. The fucking laptop died. Okay, so then what happens is the projector. You remember back in school when there was nothing connected to the projector? It's just panes of, it's almost looks like in there a little bit, it's just panes of color. All the primary colors, the panes, big long stripes of color, poof, just blows on the back wall. And at first I hung my head, I was oh no, because the whole video was supposed to be that galaxy background. Illy Rock looks at me.
Look at it.
Bro, that is fire. I'm like, you got a point. I jumped right back in front of that motherfucker, and we filmed the whole rest of the video. We actually did more takes on that background than we did on the Galaxial background. So it jumps back and forth. So there's this huge note at the end, too, where I just soar for the stars with this one huge note that just carries, and bam, he flashes to this color, and it's just like, it just consumes me. Like, the whole frame is just these huge, bright colors, and me with this grill mic in front just get to it. Yeah, so it's performance-based, but it's super splashy, super visual, super colorful. It's something that'll definitely,
I'm excited to see that. Y'all make sure y'all go to his YouTube channel and click that reminder button so you can be there when it premieres. I'm gonna definitely check it. February 1st. Boom. If you could get a feature from any artist in the industry right now, money doesn't matter. Who would you get a feature from?
Anderson .Paak.
Woo! I like him a lot. He's got some dope visuals.
Had that answer ready. I bet, boy, look, tell me what. As soon as I heard Anderson, I'm like, bro, that man, you got to get your bag up, though, once again, because he got that new song with Rick Ross called Cut 'Em In. He's like, you can't negotiate with Drake. You going to have to pay. I was like, oh man.
Why Anderson? Why Anderson back?
Because he's me, basically, if that makes sense. And I'm not, obviously, like, I'm not going to, I'm a humble dude. I'm not here to, go, oh, I'm better than so-and-so, whatever. But he reminds me very much of myself in the sense that he's found his lane. Like, he knows what he's doing, but he's so diverse, dude. So diverse, man. He's got the Cut 'Em In songs, which are, real, funky, you know what I mean? 808 heavy songs, like Rick Ross, for fuck's sake. Then he's also got, his Ventura album, which is just 100%, silky, smooth, just, pop, funk fusion. I don't know how to describe it, but the man can rap too. You remember the song? What was the song that he not blew up off of, but it got him popping.
Is it the one where he's hanging from the chandelier?
Yeah. Look at me, baby. I'm gonna take your mama to the Marriott and wear it out. I'm an Anderson .Paak fan, and I can't think. I'm terrible with titles for some reason. That's just me. I can't think of titles to save my life.
I know what song you're talking about.
Bubbling. One in the hand, one in the bag, bubbling. Look at the cash. Look at the cash coming in. Dude, Anderson is so fire. Anderson, if you're watching this, please, bro, I love you. I love you. Please come to the studio or let me fly out there.
So to that same question, if you could tour with any artist in the industry, now it's different. We're in front of people. We got to bring the energy, all that. Who would you tour with?
That's a little bit more. That's a little bit more detailed question. I would probably say Anderson .Paak once again, just because our vibes fit really well. But I would also say with a healthy dose, with a healthy side of, honestly, Rod Wave.
Oh, interesting.
I really like Rod Wave, and he reminds me very much of what kind of my sound has the potential to be. Obviously, I don't want to copy anybody, so it's not there. But I feel like our styles would be very complementary. Because Rod Wave does that heavy singing, heavy emphasis on singing. But the boy can bust down and hit a rap now. Don't play with Rod. Rod will rap. Rod will rap your shoes off. So it's just that real soulful pain, that passionate, you know what I mean? I feel like me and Rod would set a crowd off, real, real good.
Is there a certain artist that people compare you to a lot?
Just a few minutes ago, you called me Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. Hey, dog. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Look, Justin Timberlake, back when we had the boy band Backstreet Boys, NSYNC vibes, they was killing the game. And so I just was comparing, he has very nice vocal skills, and they are Justin Timberlake. You see it. You see how he elevated his song.
He has got pipes on him. There's a reason why he survived, and everybody else from that era kind of just faded back, and JT just stood strong because JT can sing his ass off. So no, I definitely take that as a huge compliment. I've been compared to Justin Timberlake. I've been compared to Justin Bieber. I mean, what's wild though is kind of going back to what we talked about with the genre differences. When I rap, when I spit bars, then I get compared to a whole different segment of people. You know what I mean? Because I open up and, I do all this type of stuff, and people are like, I know exactly who you are. And they start naming off all these, boy bandy type people, Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber. I got called, what was it? As a matter of fact, I had somebody call me Mark Anthony one time. Somebody's like, Mark Anthony, John Legend. I've gotten compared to John Legend a lot. I actually have a really killer version. As a matter of fact, All of You, or All of Me, I believe is the song. Was it All of Me or All
of Me? Was all you.
Like that. Anyhow, once again, I'm terrible with titles. I'm sorry, John, if I butchered that. But I actually used that song and got into the honors music program in my college, in my town where I went to. That was my audition song to get into the talent show, which I ended up winning with a song that I wrote. But I auditioned with John Legend and got in.
Shout out to John Legend for making all things possible and creating that song and giving people.
John is a monster. Don't sleep on John Legend. That man is multi-platinum, bro. John is a monster. So, yeah, I would say those are probably a good handful, man, as far as singers are concerned. John Legend.
What about rappers? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, not to be cliche, but the obvious is Eminem. Everybody immediately goes.
I was just about to say, do people have a tendency to compare you to white artists, rappers, singers, etc.?
Yeah, to an extent. To an extent. When it comes to singing, the ironic part is I get compared more to white artists when I rap than when I sing, because the amount of like soul that's in my singing voice. A lot of people say that like when they hear me singing, if they didn't know who I was, they wouldn't know what color that I was. Like, I can't do that. You're really white for real? I'm like, yeah. When I sing, and a lot of people don't expect that. The rapping, however, as soon as like they hear me rap, like, cause I love to like, I'm very bar heavy. Like I like to spit like a faster pace, like slow rap kind of. It doesn't bore me necessarily, but like I got a homeboy, once again, shout out my boy Breeze Davis, like Starlito, Scotty ATL. Those are some of his favorite rappers, and those guys, they rhyme, but their flow is very like, it's that ATL shit, so it's very deliberate. You know what I'm saying? It's like slower pace. You know what I mean? And like I listen to a lot of that shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like Big Crit is, top 5 artists to me. Like Big Crit is phenomenal. But when it comes to me, like I just such and such like that. Those bars that
I got Yellow Wolf.
Yellow Wolf, yeah, I can see that because of the Southern. Yeah, I get that a lot. Yellow Wolf, I get. I've been compared to obviously Twista and Busta. When I spit faster. Some of my what did Man, I was on a podcast down in Atlanta. As a matter of fact, I was on a podcast one time, and the guest right before me was fucking Idi Amin, one of the dudes that was on Tupac's one of Tupac's songs. Legendary dude, and I got up there and I actually spit some bars for them, and they compared me to some Philly artists. So like they were saying, like, you kind of got like a little bit of Meek to you, with the punchlines and how like the aggression in your voice and stuff like that. And so like Meek, I feel like is kind of a reach. Meek is kind of a reach for me because I feel like Meek has a very distinct, unique flow that doesn't really sound like me. I think the basis for that was mainly in my punchlines. Like a lot of Philly rappers are known for their punchlines, you know what I mean? So like punchline heavy in some of my songs, and so.
So now let me just get a couple of last words, and then your social media, your email, and everything like that, so people know how to reach you.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say, first of all, it's an honor to be on the show. I've had a blast, messing around. Trying not to take myself too seriously. You know what I'm saying? We wig the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Do what we do.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, but y'all will never see that.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It'll get edited in post, man. Thank God for post. But I just want to shout out, once again, the song Reckless and Romance. It's on all platforms. I mean, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple Music, I'm on Audio Mac, I'm on, SoundCloud, I'm on YouTube, I'm on literally every, Amazon, Pandora, Google Play Music, everything. Dirty White, all one word. Reckless and Romance is the track, mixed and mastered by one and only Lil Ed Audio right here from Charlotte. The video is dropping February the 1st. Social media is Dirty F White on all platforms. It's pretty universal. As a matter of fact, www.dirtyfwhite.com. Please encourage you. These beautiful hoodies that my man has on, the softest hoodie. Let me hold this. Turn around, show him the back. Lift up the hood. Yep. This feeling. So this is one of the most recent songs that I've dropped. As a matter of fact, it's on my YouTube. Yeah, this feeling don't mean nothing at all. Anyhow, it's a pretty dank little track. But the official hoodies, the official merch, I've actually got some Reckless and Romance merch that is on the way. Every project that I drop, I try to do some associated merchandise,
which is good.
Fans of the song can actually go. So please, go to dirtyfwhite.com, get your hoodies, get your stickers, get your merch. I got physical albums as well, merch on there that you can purchase, and I'll ship it right out to you. No stress. So much love. I appreciate you having me, man.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for showcasing your talents. Thank you for dealing with me, Mouthin Out. I really appreciated you. Definitely want to do that listening party type vibe thing. So y'all be on the lookout for that. This is Adrian Nyce, Mouthin Out, here with
Dirty White
in the building. F what you talking about, because over here we Mouthin Out. Peace. All right. Thank you, dog.